Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are around the world, around the country, around the state. Welcome to another episode of the Silk Stocking Sisters podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Theresa Canada. Today, I'd like to talk about friends. And specifically, I want to talk about how the role of friends specifically can, or classmates in my case, I'm thinking about how they are in terms of assisting with the pursuit of educational excellence. And I say that because I think about my experience at PS6 as opposed to the classes I was in PS 157, my initial public school. And it's important to note that a lot of research has been done about the integration, segregation situation and how it impacted on children. I just want to take this time, just talk about the friendships. And for me, how the friendships allowed me to pursue educational excellence. Now, it may not have allowed everybody to pursue it, but that was what I want to talk about today in terms of how it impacted me. Now, somebody else may talk about something else, but I want to just share a couple of minutes about this. So, as you all know, in the fourth grade, I attended PS6, which was the supposedly desegregation efforts that was made for me to attend PS6 as opposed to my neighborhood elementary school, which I just love just as much. And I think you'll see some things about, I'll be talking about my PS experience. I'm going to talk about that, and also PS 157 experience in terms of friendships. I think I may have mentioned it before because you've had some of my classmates on, but we didn't talk specifically the ones who were from PS 157 or from the I think it was the East Harlem area of New York City. A friend who was in the book talks about her experience. But let me go a couple of minutes, just a few minutes about this. I see friends helping me become more structured. I needed the support. And in essence, I believe that was what allowed me to pursue excellence. Not everybody who came to PS6 really wanted to excel. They were just doing what they needed to do to be in the classroom. But as children, 7, 8 years old, even 9, there were some 9-year-olds. It's not the same. It's not the same standard. You don't know. You just don't know what's going on. So you're just going to school, and it's based upon your previous experiences of being in school. So even though friends allowed me to help increase my interest in being an excellent person in pretty much everything I touched my hands with, but still, to me, educational excellence was crucial. It was just crucial. And so anything else that came out of that was fine. But, I wanted to excel academically. And that was in, fourth grade. I want to do well. And if you read the book, you'll find some of the sad stories that took place. Some of the hostile environment. It was a hostile environment for most of us. And the discrimination pieces that took place by some of the teachers, and even a few of the students, because what did they know? This was strange for many of them. So if you're going to pursue excellence, it's good to have support. And one of the instances I mentioned from another book is when I was in fourth grade with my classmate, my classmate from fourth grade, whom I met in the fourth grade. She didn't come from my local elementary school. We met in fourth grade, and how we had to devise some kind of method to be able to withstand the kinds of harassments or the forms of, I don't want to say how strongly it was in discriminatory processes, but in a sense it was how the teachers, this one particular teacher, I'm not going to say all the teachers, but this particular teacher was really not supportive of us being there. And it was obvious. And some of the actions that took place in the classroom would support that. And if you read the book, you'll read specifically who the teacher is, what happened in the circumstances and what my friend and I did. So for me, I don't think I would have made it through the fourth grade without my classmate. Her name is Pamela. I don't think I would have made it through fourth grade We spoke every night on the phone, pretty much every night. And it just kept me going. I don't know how my relationship with her, how she felt about the relationship. But for me, I came from an environment where I had friends in my class. So I expected to have friends in the class in fourth grade as well. So Pamela and I were, sitting. We didn't sit in the same section, but we would end up being close friends in the classroom. I think, yeah, I think that because she was tall. I don't know how it was decided in terms of where we were going to sit, but Pamela, remembers exactly where she was sitting, whereabouts was sitting. I guess it was so poignant that she never forgot where we were sitting, how it was sitting. But I know that I was not at the table with her. I thought it was because of height. Go figure. I don't know. But anyway, that's what I'm thinking. But let me just talk a little bit about some of the research that's come out. Now, Mayo Clinic had come up with, an article, I think 2022, that discusses the connection between health and friendship. So, other than just talking about things in general, this is something that's been researched in terms of adult health. It's this article about, from the Mayo Clinic, and it talks about how to discover the connection between health and friendship, and how to promote and maintain healthy friendships. It's a wonderful article, so you need to check it out. But I want to bring it up because it's very defining for me to understand that friendships can have a major impact on your health and well-being. So not just physically, but also psychologically. And there were some psychological damages that were taking place in that classroom that I was in, and people didn't realize how it impacted us. But somehow or another, we got through. Somehow or another, we did, and we were able to excel. But basically, the article in the Mayo Clinic talks about the, friendships, how it has a major impact on your health and well-being. Did I know this as a child? No, I didn't know this as a child, but I know one thing. It helped to support me to get through PS6, at least that fourth grade. I mean, that was completely shocking, different experience that I had no anticipation as what was going to happen. But thank goodness I met a good friend, and she's a friend of mine to this day, who was in my class, and we just kind of connected, and it helped me to still keep myself on a even keel and keep pursuing, I should say, educational excellence, because I think that's what's most important. But let me mention some of the comments that came out of the article about good friends and that are good for your health from the Mayo Clinic article. Okay, it's some of the good things that they say is that friends can help you celebrate good times and provide support during bad times. Friends prevent isolation and loneliness and give you a chance to offer needed companionship too. Friends can do also the following: increase your sense of belonging and purpose, boost your happiness and reduce stress, improve your self-confidence and self-worth, help you cope with traumas such as divorce, serious illness, job loss, or the death of a loved one, and encourage you to change or avoid unhealthy lifestyle habits such as excessive drinking or lack of exercise. So that was coming from the article from the Mayo Clinic. And I can understand that. Now, mind you, I'm talking about when I was a fourth grader. And then, of course, as the time went on, some of those characteristics followed us as we went on our merry way. But for me, I want to say specifically, friendships and relationships in particular, to me, are very significant. Very significant. I have like childhood friends to this day. I have lifelong friends from elementary school, I have from high school, from college. I have my besties from college. Even in graduate school, I met from some great friends from college who are like, sisters. We're all like kind of sisters in a sense. And I think that was important for me. I don't know how other people perceived it, but it helped me to be able to get through what I was going through during this quote unquote desegregation process that I was completely unaware of. I just thought I was going to new school. So it said a lot about, it helped me to cope. But we also, my friend and I got together because we noticed that something was unusual. Now, if I mentioned this in a previous video someplace else, the fact that, the perception would have been given, you would think that there was not a single Black teacher. I mentioned that in another episode. There are no Black teachers at all at PS6. And the fact that I had one of the best teachers I felt I had in third grade, who happened to be my first Black teacher. I'm looking forward to something similar moving forward in the fourth grade, and how dynamic that teacher was. And that led me to think, well, all the teachers should be moving like that, moving forward. Okay. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Fortunately, it didn't happen. But what my friend and I, we came up with something when we felt that things weren't going well. We came up, devised some kind of strategy. That's what it was called. It was a strategy. There's no question about it. Not knowing we would make it, it was a strategy, but it was a strategy. And we noticed that we weren't being called on to answer certain questions. And if we knew the answer, yes, we raise our hands, but we would never get called on. But then when we didn't have the answer, somehow or another, the teacher would just call out different people's names. And it just so happened she would oftentimes call some of the Black students when the hands were down. So that was disturbing, very disturbing. And my friend and I realized, let's switch the switch on this right now. And don't ask me how we came up with this idea, but I had an idea, and she said she would go along. And we said, okay, we can do this, we can do that. And we did. So we decided to not raise our hands when we had the answer, and raise our hands when we didn't have the answer. It was just so strange. And so of course we knew the teacher was going to call us because our hands were raised up. So she was going to call us, but she did call us when our hands were raised. And when we didn't raise our hands, she figured we didn't have the answer. So that's when she would call us. So, but then what she did, the first or second time, it might have been the second time, that she called on one of us who she felt didn't have the answer. And we had the correct answer, not once, but twice. That changed her strategy altogether because it didn't work. Because she figured, oh, how did they figure it out? I mean, we weren't even that sure. But my point is, this is what happened when friends get together. This is what happened when friends get together. We were going to make sure we were going to be okay, and we were going to pursue excellence. We were not going to let her think that we didn't have the answer, because we did. But I think more so than other, unfortunately, the perception that other students in the class may have, if they felt every time we were called on to answer a question, we didn't have the answer. And if you're a young child, your formative years, you're thinking, people who are like that don't know the answers. They must not be very smart. So we want to dispel that. Pamela and I wanted to dispel that. That's not happening. We said, oh, we're not doing that. So that was a strategy that a friend and I did. So friendships are very important. And that was just the starting point for educational excellence. So at each level, we continue to do that over and over and over again, not just one level, not just elementary school, not just fourth grade, not just fifth, not sixth, but the rest of it. I guess for me, it was the rest of my educational career to this day, right, that I pursue excellence. And unfortunately, that's not what I see in young children now. And I don't see that in young people as a whole. And I don't know why. I have a sense as to why. And much of that has to do with the fact that, they don't necessarily have a cadre of classmates and friends who may be pursuing educational excellence. And that might be deterring them from thinking that it's important to be able to read, to write, to articulate, to compute. And that's unfortunate, but we need more people who consider educational excellence. The other may be because of episode I talk about teachers. Teachers, why there aren't, how they have a shortage of teachers. So if you listen to that episode, you'll understand why some of these young people said, well, why bother? The teachers were educated and look at their meager salaries even to this day. So, you think about you putting that time and effort into school, you want to be able to reap some of the benefits, and some of it should be able to have a, decent life. And that's not necessarily the case all the time in some of these professions, especially relating to education. So it's an issue. But also, let me just mention something else: the importance of friends. Especially long term, not just at fourth grade, elementary, but you tend to be able to gravitate, and you do things together, and it helps build in terms of things like later on in life, things you may want to pursue. They may be in a field that you may be interested, and you have them to connect with. All right. But I think the other thing is this: having friends involves nurturing. It involves nurturing. You have to learn to nurture. You don't say, okay, this is my friend because you know the person in school. But what do you do together? What do you have in common? Do you sit and study together? Do you attend other things outside of the classroom that enhances the relationship? Those are all the types of characteristics that come into play in terms of developing a relationship. And I think because of social media, it's difficult for people to know how to do that. It's just difficult because you have those devices, and that's why it's called, they said, your friends are there. If you don't have any physical friends, you have friends online, or you have these, but it's the development of the relationship that's so significant, that's lacking, I think. And I think young people now need to understand the importance of having a human to human contact. That's something that I encourage the people that I have, because I mean, I work as a licensed mental professional health counselor as well, and I see the void that takes place when people don't have connection with other human beings in terms of relationships, and what it could lead, and where it can lead, and where it is leading in this country. So that's very important, right? Now, let me just say overall, the Mayo article also said that friends also play a significant role in promoting your overall health. Um, so, so as you grow and develop, it's saying that adults with strong social connections have a reduced risk of many significant health problems, including depression, high blood pressure, and an unhealthy body mass index. In fact, studies have shown that older adults who have meaningful relationships and social support are likely to live longer than their peers with fewer connections. So I'm going to have my friends for a long time. I'll be with my friends for a long time because I plan to be around here for, well, who knows how long I'll be here. But I'm just saying, the connections you make early on, that's why I'm an early childhood specialist in terms of understanding the importance of having a varied early childhood experience, because it does lead to what you end up doing later on in life. And so often it's hard when you get to become a senior in high school. It's difficult. It's a very different process. If you have not had this gauge along the road, as if it doesn't start in the beginning, it's hard to end up to a place where you expect to be. So I think it's important that you emphasize early on in the child's life, early on, just invest in those children early on so that they can have better lives and we can have a better society. Simple as that. Not just one person. All of us are going to be impacted if we don't invest in our young people. So you have this education, but what good is it if it's not making a difference in the lives of the young people and who eventually become adults? So I wanted to talk about the importance of how, for me, having my classmates and friends growing up allowed me to pursue educational excellence. And that was something I want to share with those of you who are listening to this episode today. And I say, if anybody's out there who feels that, well, I don't know what I'm going to do, you got to be able to read, write, compute. Okay, simple as that. And if you're not able to do that, you're going to be really struggling in our society. Okay, especially in this country. I don't know about other countries, but especially in this country. All right, so I wanted to mention that as part of the snippet for this particular episode. So folks, get out there, check out this article. Like I said, find in Mayo Clinic. It's a very valuable article, and it also talks about the quality counts more than quantity. You don't have to have a whole lot of friends, but you have a few close-knit friends. Because I said, all my friends are smart. I said, all my close friends are brilliant people. That's the case. That's just how I sense my relationship with my friends. All my friends are people who want to accomplish something, or who have already accomplished something, or who really want to make I'm not going to say about the difference, but they have had pretty good lives. Right? They have pretty good lives. So I'm just saying, quality is just, if not more important than the quantity. Some people, I have all these friends. Well, somebody said they have all these friends on Instagram. That's not your friend. Okay. Get a grip, get out and get the human contact, because that's going to be more like, long lasting than just your friends that you have on social media. It's nice, but when it comes down to it, that social media is not going to come help you with your sick. Okay. So, or, just think about this other side of the story here, and that gives you some idea of what you need to focus on. So other than that, this is a really just, a short video talking about the role of friends and how, for me, it allowed me to pursue educational excellence. Still to this day, I think about all the friends who've come across my life, and, it kept me going. It allowed me to enhance my life as we continue to grow and develop. And I'm still on the path. So thank you again for for joining me for another episode here, because I wanted to share that tidbit about friends and also how it impacts your health, your emotional and psychological well-being. So try to think about that when because you don't think about it now. If you don't think about it early, because I know a lot of young people don't have friends. They'll have someone they know of, but it's hard to develop friendships. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you can still meet people after you become an adult. I'm not saying, but you have to belong to. You got to join something, volunteer, be part of join a club or a community center, volunteer, help out, any kind of religious thing you want to involve in, or just tutor young people, learn a new language, travel, okay? Because you need to that'll help you to emphasize the importance of staying healthy physically and emotionally. All right. So it's an overall health issue, not just physical health, but emotional health as well. So again, thank you again for coming on board and listening to this podcast, and I appreciate your being here. Please like, subscribe, or put a comment and share with me. And we look forward to seeing the next episode of the Silk Stocking Sisters podcast. Bye now. Have a great day. Bye.